This is WSUR, and that was The Ghost Inside with Test the Limits. Right now, we're going to go to the phone because we actually have Foz Rock, the lead guitar and vocalist for Avenue of the Giants. You there, Foz?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for taking the time to hit the G-spot. How goes the world of rock and roll?
Yeah, man. It's going really, really well. We've been making a lot of moves, doing a lot of things. It's been a very productive year for us. We got a album recorded. We're getting ready to release. We just released a single called So You'd Like to Think, and released a video for that too. So we've been really busy, man, doing that and playing out, you know, doing shows, that kind of thing. So life is good.
That's awesome, man. For those who may not know about Avenue of the Giants, can you tell us a little bit about how the band came about?
Yeah, I used to play in another band called Rehab, and we had been out on the road for many, many years, almost a decade. We ended up touring with people like Kid Rock, Blink-182, that kind of thing. Near the end of that whole situation, I was in L.A. and got somebody put something in my drink. I was after a show hanging out with some fans, and somehow or another I ended up in the hospital. It was a bad scene. But the next day we drove up to Northern California, and there's a place there called Avenue of the Giants where all the big redwood trees are. It's a beautiful place. And so I spent a little bit of time there the next day and just kind of had an awakening and wanted to come back and try and put together a new musical project that was focused on positivity and, you know, everything that I believe. And that's kind of how Avenue came about. That's where the name came from. I came back, and the other singer, Devin, we had met years ago on the road. He had been in the business for a long time too, and you know, he worked with a band that toured with Rehab, so we've known each other for a long, long time. When I came back after that trip, we started talking, and you know, we decided that we were just going to start writing songs together, and it kind of came from there. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool experience, and it's really great because, you know, I write a lot of the music. Me and Devin write it together, and you know, we write music that we love and we want to hear. So it's been very rewarding.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, man.
I know. I was reading a little bit about you guys, and I seen that story, and I was like, wow, that is something. So
right.
It kind of gives you an awakening of sorts, as you said.
Right.
Your sound is very different from what one might perceive as, quote, the norm in the rock and roll world.
Right.
What was the band's idea for your sound from the beginning? In other words, what were you going for, and how well did it mesh together?
Well, you know, I came from Rehab was kind of like country, southern rock, hip-hop style sound, and Devin used to be in a band called Lazy Eye, which was like really like heavy rock sound. So it was an interesting mix when we came together. I think the majority of the music and the sound comes from the guitar riffs that I write. You know, that's normally how we write. I'll have like a riff that I'll throw out, and Devin will instantly jump on. He's really quick. We've actually written like 5-6 songs a night before. It's pretty amazing. So that's normally how it goes. So I guess the sound would be defined mainly by those guitar riffs. But the cool thing about this project is that everybody in this band has been in the music business for some length of time. Like, I was in Rehab, we were signed to Universal Records, did that whole major label thing. Evan, same thing in Lazy Eye. He was signed to Ludacris, Disturbing the Peace records. So the other two guys in the band, Derek and our drummer and Justin, both are schooled people. So you have two guys that have kind of been into the major label thing, and then two guys that went to school, like Atlanta Institute of Music for Justin and the Atlanta Institute of Music up in Washington for Derek. So those guys bring a whole different feel because they're technically trained. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. It's an interesting thing. So I think that's the uniqueness of our sound comes there. And a big part of it is that we all like a similar kind of music. You know, we all like rock from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and that, you know, is really where it all comes from. So, and we work well together.
Well, that's cool. That definitely is wild. You know, you have a different sound. Let's get into a little bit about Just Between Us. You have many tracks out there. Each track is definitely different from the rest.
Right.
So You'd Like to Think is one that is very diverse. What is the story behind this song?
So You'd Like to Think, what we're basically talking about is, you know, some of the experiences we've had in the music industry and how people people can at times mislead you, you know, make you believe that it's going to be a certain way, and it's not that way. I think that's one thing that I've learned in touring and traveling around a bunch is that, you know, a lot of people, when you start out, especially in a band and it becomes famous, you know, you always picture it to be a certain way. You always picture it's going to be just like, oh, it's going to be like this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But 9 times out of 10, when you get to that point, it's never the way you imagine it. Not saying it's any less gratifying or beautiful, but it's just not exactly how you pictured it. You know what I mean? I think that's what this song's about too. Is the same thing. Like, you know, maybe you dream and you may accomplish that dream, but when you get there, you'll realize that it's not what you thought it was going to be.
I get that a lot in life.
Right.
You know, you're told one thing and it doesn't necessarily work out to be the thing they said to begin with.
Right. So that's kind of what you could take from that song. And the video, you know, it has a cool theme too. It's just kind of, you know, showing a couple of people who have, you know, what options you have in life. You can go this way, you can go that way, and however you choose to do things, you know, can turn out. So in the video, we made it where everybody made the right decision.
I was going to ask you about that because I checked out the video and it's very unique. And I was going to ask you, what was it like doing that video?
We hired a director named Aaron Marsh through a good photographer friend of ours. He recommended him, and so we talked with him. We sent him the music, and we let him just, you know, vibe to it for a couple weeks. And, you know, we only really like to work with people that, you know, enjoy what we do and want to work with us, you know. So we made sure that he was feeling it. He was, and then we kind of got together and just kind of, you know, brainstormed this idea, and it kind of went from there. We only took like 2 days capturing all that footage. I mean, we really hustled with it. So, you know, but it was cool. It's always an experience working on videos, anything with content like that, because it's just a different art form than music. You know what I mean?
Right. To me, I think I would enjoy it. It'd be a refreshing change from being in a studio all day.
You know, it's different, but it's also similar in a sense, because you just have to take the same shot over and over and over again. You know what I mean? A lot of times you just have to stand there, and then they'll take different angles and change the lighting, but you stand there. It's a lot of standing, but it's cool. I mean, it's a different thing. I mean, anything creative is good by me.
I want to ask you about a couple other tracks you have.
Sure.
Call Your Bluff really jams.
Right.
I like that song a lot. What went into writing that track?
That particular song, we were just at a rehearsal spot, and we started at riff, and it was just kind of like a rhythmic thing, and then I kind of started writing it out a little bit, and to me, the riff reminded me of like the sound of like maybe a band like Tool, that kind of vibe. Yeah. That's what I was thinking when I wrote the riff, and then we kind of took it from there, and then we just made sure that we were really tight and syncopated on that song, and, you know, it's fun live, too. A lot of the music is written for live performance, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds good recorded, in my opinion, but we write it from a place of live performance. So, you know, what you hear on that album is what you're going to hear when you see us live. So we try and make sure that that's how it goes. But yeah, that's how that song came about. We're actually going to film the video for that in a couple weeks.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
We'll keep you in the loop on that.
Definitely. Another track that I like, Betty, has a grunge Nirvana type feel to it.
Right.
What was the thought process with this track? Is that what you were shooting for?
No, you know, with Betty, I wrote that in my kitchen like years ago. Like, this is a funny story. I'm glad you brought it up. Like, I wrote that song like 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. And then, you know, at the time I was trying to do production work for other bands. So I tried to use that song with like 3 other bands, and it just never had the sound that I ever wanted. And so when I put Avenue of the Giants together, you know, I thought it'd be a good idea to bring that song out. And I was like, man, you know, I'll just do the song because nobody's doing it the way I want it to be done. So that's kind of how that one came out. And then I got Devin to sing, you know, he learned the parts and everything, and we cut it. And I really like it too. To me, it kind of also reminds me a little bit of like Weezer, maybe like Weezer and Nirvana mix.
Because I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm thinking to myself as I'm listening to it, I'm like, man, that sounds like Nirvana mixed with what? Thanks, man. I appreciate it because it was racking my brain all afternoon.
We like grew up in the 90s, you know what I mean? We were young, so we are really influenced by 90s rock, like Nirvana, Weezer, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, you know, all those guys. Like, we love rock from all eras, but, you know, that was when we were young, so it had a big influence on our writing style, I think.
What are some of your or the band's musical influences? I mean, is it just 90s, or
no? You know, I love Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin.
Oh man,
you're
my best friend band now.
Yeah, man, he's the one, you know what I mean? So I'd say a lot of my style, soloing or whatever, comes from Jimmy Page and Slash. Those are my guys, you know what I mean, that I really enjoy listening to. Slash is another one. Appetite for Destruction came out. I was like super young. I remember hearing that, and I was just blown away that somebody could make a guitar sound like that.
That's a great mix.
Yeah, so that and maybe a little Van Halen is in there.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I saw live when you remember that Van Halen video, Live Without a Net?
Yeah.
Really old stuff. And I was like super young, and I remember watching that. And there's a scene in there where right before he does Eruption, he kind of like looks at the crowd, pulls out a cigarette, lights it up, takes a couple puffs, and then he puts it in his headstock, sits on the edge of the stage, and plays Eruption. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man, well, I saw that when I was super young, and I was like, man, I want to play guitar. I want to play guitar.
I mean, I grew up on Hendrix, Zeppelin, Sabbath. You know, I took up drums, but I love guitar, and I'm actually thinking about maybe trying to play a little bit. So that's really cool. Is there anything you would like to say to the fans out there? Maybe something they may not know about Avenue of the Giants?
Yeah, I think, you know, that we're some people that are going to bring some really good music to everybody, and we've already got the first album done. We've got 9 written for the second one already, which we haven't released the first album yet, but we got music coming. We're going to drop the album, I think, early part of 2014. The single, So You'd Like to Think, is on iTunes. In fact, Greg, they featured us on iTunes last week on the front page.
Ah, cool.
It was really cool. So things are going well, man. You know, so just keep an ear out. And if you see that we're coming to your town or nearby, please come out and say hello. We'd love to meet you. You know what I mean? I really enjoy hanging out. We always hang out with our fans, you know, before and after the show. So if you see us nearby, come on out. You know, all the regular stuff. Our Twitter is at AOTG Music, Facebook.com/AOTG Music, and then our website is, AOTGmusic.com.
I was going to plug that for you in the next couple questions. I only got a couple more for you, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, no worries, man.
You guys are doing a few shows down south at the moment. Can we possibly see a nationwide tour somewhere down the road for you guys?
Oh, definitely. Definitely going to happen. We just have been doing a lot of writing and recording, so that's why we're sticking close to home right now. But yeah, it's coming. We're actually exploring different options and routes. We've got a couple bands that we could go out with. So we just want to make sure and make the right decision because, you know, I've toured for a decade straight. 300 shows a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to touring at all. I have a daughter now. I just became I'm a father recently. She's 18 months old. So I took off about the last year and a half, hang out with her. You know what I mean? We've done shows and all that kind of thing in between, but, you know, we'll get back up in 2014. We're just trying to build the buzz back up.
Well, congratulations on your daughter, and I can see why you would stick close to home, you know. Family first, man.
Oh, yeah.
You basically answered my last question for me. What can we expect next from Avenue of the Giants, and do you plan on getting right back at the writing process? And I think you answered that for me.
Man, yeah, Greg, we write, like, we have, like, a writing session, like, at least once a week, and then normally a recording session once a week. So we're always, you know, putting new music down all the time. We all write. Everybody in the band is a multi-instrumentalist, so we all sing, we all play guitar, bass, drums, or at least know how to program drums or engineer, you know, that kind of thing. It's a very creative environment for all of us, you know. And what we also do is, like, you know, we write so much music that we can't use it all. We also, like, help other artists or write for other people, you know.
That's cool. Hey, it keeps you busy. You love to do what you love to do, and you can't ask for anything else, you know. It's you just keep plugging away, and you just keep doing what you do, just like I do here at WSUR, and you know, you enjoy it, you love it, just like I do, and you know, it's what you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you guys make sweet melody from it too, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks.
Yeah, I want to let everybody know, AOTGmusic.com. Check them out, Avenue of the Giants. This is Foz Rock, and I would like to thank them at this time for hopping on the G-Spot. And,
thank you for having me.
And I want to thank New England Concert Reviews as well for hooking this up. Thank you, NECR. And again, thank you, Foz. I wish you, the band, tons of luck in the future, and I can't wait to see more stuff from you guys.
Cool, Greg. We look forward to it. And we'll be getting out that way soon, so we hope to meet you in person real soon.
That sounds like a plan, man, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. cool.
That was Foz Rock. He is the lead guitarist and vocalist for Avenue of the Giants. Check them out. They are at aotgmusic.com. Check them out on Facebook. Check out some of their tunes. They're really good. I think you'll enjoy them. I know I did. And we're actually going to get back to a little music here. This is Adrenaline Mob, Undaunted, right here on WSUR.